Bing bong. Who is it? Knicks Bulls tonight. Can't wait. There's football tonight, and there's a little baseball with PETA rearing its ugly head into the sport you people love so much. Good afternoon, Evan. How are you today, kid?
Hi, how are you?
Well, apparently bulls and cows are very sensitive. They're like Kevin Durant.
Don't pick on Kevin Durant.
They're like Sandy Alderson.
Yeah, you
very
go.
sensitive, insecure things, animals.
That's better.
Because PETA thinks that referring to the bullpen as the bullpen in baseball, and they're using this, of course, during the World Series when they have the largest audience for the sport, is insensitive to cows. That's right. Insensitive to cows. Do you think the cows know that we refer to it as the bullpen? And you think the cows will rejoice if we change the name to what they'd like us to, which is Arm Barn.
I have to admit, the Arm Barn is a pretty badass name.
Arm Barn.
It kind of is.
Okay?
I'm sorry.
Welcome to the Arm Barn.
Who's coming out of the Arm Barn?
Yeah.
Here's a Roldis Chapman.
Sounds like a New York City after-hours club. You know. Tonight, a very special night, 3-for-1 Heineken's at the Arm Barn, which is really just a place for guys with big penises. You know?
Oh, man.
And I say that with all due respect to the guys that are marching today in New York City celebrating small penises. There's actually right now in New York City a small penis march.
I know. I'm surprised you didn't take off to lead it.
Shockingly, not a single woman's within 30 blocks of the small penis march. And by the way, why would you want people to know that you got a small penis is what I'd like to know. It ain't nothing to be proud of. Pinky. Anyway, so yeah, that's what's going on with PETA. PETA exec Tracy Ivan said words matter. Not to cows, they don't. And baseball bullpens mocks the misery of sensitive animals.
Here's the sad part. There's like a 30% chance MLB's going to say, you're right. We're going to change it to the Arm Barn.
Yeah, they're going to kowtow to PETA. I tell you, PETA, I told you, PETA reached out to me via email in a very non-aggressive way, to be fair, when we did our meat draft. As if you don't know, if you weren't listening to the show about a month ago, or a couple months ago, we bought a cow. We bought a cow from, it was a Beaver Creek Ranch, right? Mm-hmm. And we had a meat draft. And
we bought a cow to kill the cow and eat the cow.
Yeah, that's what we did.
Let's be blunt
that's
about
the short of it, right?
Yeah.
So I got an email from PETA executive saying, hey, can we convince you to save that cow's life and get it out to a range where, you know, the cow will live out its days, whatever that cow, however long cows live, I don't know. And I wrote back and I said, well, the cow costs us money. If you want to, give us the money back for the cow, reimburse us, I'm happy to save the cow's life. We're not mean-spirited people here. And if you want to save this particular cow, whose name was
Mookie.
That's right. We're happy to help you save the cow's life. We're going to eat a different cow,
right?
But we're happy to help you save Mookie's life.
Pretty much what would happen, yes.
And they wrote back and they said, we'll give you the value of the cow in vegetarian snacks and whatnot. Which, is like $3,000 worth of vegetarian snacks. Now, I thought in that regard, PETA was actually well-placed. They want to save the cow's life. I respect that. Cows don't have feelings. This is where PETA does themselves damage. People hear this and go, you're a bunch of crazy people. Cows aren't getting together going, gosh darn it, I'd love to watch the World Series, but they keep referencing that damn bullpen, and I just can't get over it.
I do give PETA credit for this. They at least offered a solution. Like the Arm Barn name isn't half bad. They didn't just say change the name. They said change the name. And by the way, we're going to help you out.
They did give you a replacement
Refer
name.
to it as the Arm Barn, which I'm starting to think as a baseball fan, I may just start referring to the bullpen as the Arm Barn myself.
Pick your poison. Yesterday was the Clays. Now it's the Arm Barn. So you don't get 2 a week, I don't think.
Yeah.
Listen, I know a lot of people are still focused on the New York Mets in this front office search. I don't know how much longer you could talk about the same thing, but for the sake of just kind of putting a closing the chapter on it, they've not actually made a single offer to anybody.
Well, how could they make an offer if they're not able to talk to anybody?
Yeah, but here's why I'm saying that. Because the rhetoric out there is that everybody's turning him down. Nobody wants the job. And frankly, that's not true at all. they've not offered the job to anybody, so nobody has turned an offer down for the job. Now, when other teams decide that they're not going to allow a prospective candidate to speak to the Mets, that shows you that those teams are insecure about what the Mets are possibly going to build, and they don't want to help the Mets, get ahead by letting them hire one of their well-thought executives. But there is a narrative out there, and we're probably guilty of it to a certain extent as well.
You're guilty of it.
No, you more than me.
No, you.
You more than me.
You said no one wants to work for the Mets.
Well,
you said that. Those words.
I'm taking ownership of we're a part of it. I said that. We're a part of it.
You're a part of it.
We're all a part of it
you
here.
in this.
Everyone in this radio station is a part of it. And I thought it was probably worthwhile today, if you're a diehard Met fan, to change the narrative to at least make it accurate, right? Theo Epstein was not offered the Met job, right? Billy Beane was not offered the job to run New York Met baseball. Did they speak to those guys? Yes. For different reasons, those guys are not going to be here to run the franchise. They did not offer Matt Arnold the job, right? Other teams are now locking their guys up because they value them. So there is this notion out there that the Mets in some way, shape, or form are incompetent, that the Mets are a job nobody wants. I don't believe that to be true, because if these guys were allowed to speak to the Mets, whether it's Arnold or Stearns in Milwaukee, whether it's Harris out in San Francisco, or pick any one of the other guys that you're familiar with, then one of those guys most likely would have been hired. So the notion that the Mets job is a bad job ain't true. And I've never said that, because I think it's a great job. New York, owner with tons of money, and a half-decent core of players that you believe in. So I just think we should change the narrative. Now, I do think the Mets have a problem. And the Mets' problem, I think, is Sandy Alderson. Because when these leaks come out, what was the one thing all the leaks had in common? They absolved Sandy of any wrongdoing. They made it like Steve Cohen's not even talking to Sandy Alderson. Steve Cohen's talking to Chris Christie. Steve Cohen's talking to his .72 folks, right? And poor Sandy Alderson is kind of being left out in the cold here. Well, who would want to forward that narrative to make himself look like the aggrieved party, or like the one legitimate baseball guy is not being used in the conversations? It's Sandy Alderson, to me at least. No? You see it differently?
Well, I don't know why Sandy Alderson is still employed by the New York Mets.
Well, they got nobody else. That's why.
So you just said,
yeah,
it's not like people are turning down the job.
No
it's
one
not
has.
like the Mets have this dysfunctional issue. And you just explained that the reason Sandy Alderson has a job is because they have nobody else.
Yeah, well, it's not like Sandy Alderson's a bus driver. Sandy with no experience. You do have about 40 years
and
experience.
I appreciated what Sandy Alderson did. I did. And I was all for him coming back. But right now in this moment, why is Sandy Alderson a part of the New York Mets front office?
Well, he's the president of baseball operations.
Why is he the president of baseball operations? Why?
Well, because they hired him a year ago to be that.
Why is he still employed?
Well, because I think there's some level of trust that he's well connected and can find them his future replacement.
No.
I don't know.
I don't want him finding his replacement. You don't fire somebody or get rid of somebody and let them hire their replacement.
Well, they're not firing him is the point.
No. I'm asking, why has he not been fired? I guess I'll be more blunt about it.
Well,
why has he not been fired?
Well, you can't fire him until you have a replacement, right?
Oh, my God. Why would he even be a part of this search? Because you just said your words. I'm trying to follow the bouncing ball, but the bouncing ball's moving.
No, go.
Sandy Alderson's going to help find his replacement.
No.
You said that.
Sandy Alderson's going to help find a GM, right?
No, he's looking for a president of baseball operations.
And he's going to go to the business side. That's
right.
Why
is he on the business side? Why is he with the organization?
Because he's a very well-respected voice in Major League Baseball.
You know what? I'm done with Sandy Alderson. I can't make myself more clear on this.
Yeah.
I'm done with him.
So fire Sandy Alderson, and then what?
Yes.
Then who's running the search?
Steve Cohen.
Well, but Steve Cohen got attacked yesterday for running the search. Nobody seemed to like that.
Did I attack Steve Cohen for running the search?
Some people did.
I don't care what some people do. I'm telling you right now, I would rather have Steve Cohen looking for the president of baseball operations than Sandy Alderson, who has ulterior motives for who he hires.
Yes.
His son works in the organization.
Which is a real problem. It's already a conflict of interest.
And I've mentioned that to you before.
Yes.
So Sandy Alderson should not be there. Now, I don't know who the guy's going to end up being that they hire because the rules in Major League Baseball are tough. It's tough to get permission to talk to anybody. I've made my recommendation, but clearly the Mets have no interest. They have no interest in a guy who won 3 world championships because I guess he's a dinosaur. He's an idiot who doesn't know how to use a computer. The Mets can dispute that, but here's what I know. The Mets aren't interested. It's obvious.
Right.
They're not interested in Brian Sabian. Why? I don't know. I guess they think he's an old dinosaur. But let's keep Sandy Alderson around. It's really important.
He's older than Sabian.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's in his 70s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then why is Sandy Alderson here and Brian Sabian not?
Well, that is the big question, and I don't believe there's an answer you're going to like for that. Because I don't know that there is an answer.
I'd love an answer.
The answer might be, last man standing kind of thing.
What does that mean?
We're not replacing him until we let him find his replacement. I don't know.
Wait, so again, Sandy Alderson is finding his replacement.
I think ultimately, yes. Yes, that's right.
I'll agree with some of the things you said. I don't necessarily think everyone's turning the Mets down. Obviously, there are guys that can't interview for the position, and owners are saying, look, I don't want to let this guy go away. So I don't believe every young executive's turning the Mets down. But the problem is Sandy Alderson is still here leading a search to replace him with his son still employed.
Right.
That looks dysfunctional. And until Steve Cohen or anybody else comes out and tells us, hey, guys, don't worry, it's not dysfunctional. Here's why. I'm under the impression that the search, for the reasons I just gave, that you can't dispute.
I'm not disputing it.
Okay. That's dysfunction.
Yeah, my only point is that people are making it seem like the Met job's not a wanted job. I don't believe in that narrative.
I didn't say that.
I mean, if you go to any other outlets, like, oh, nobody wants to work for the Mets, and to me, that's just comical. Now, why is Sandy here? Great question. At some point, Steve Cohen's going to have either fire him or explain to Met fans why he still believes in Sandy's ability to lead this team into the postseason. Because you can't have it both ways, right? They are clearly looking for a new executive to run baseball operations, and right now Sandy's the guy doing it.
Look, maybe they're going to tell us, look, we couldn't find anybody, so we're going to have Sandy run it back again. Is that really the backup plan? Is that really what Met fans are going to be staring at going into this offseason? Another year of Sandy Alderson here? Well, because we couldn't find anyone else. Because that's essentially what happened last year. They may have hired Jared Porter and eventually promoted Zach Scott, but it was still Sandy Alderson's show. And
yes.
Is that what we're staring at again?
I think there's a chance you're going to stare at that for a couple of years, possibly. Let's pretend for a minute that they've decided that Stearns is really their guy. If he's really their guy,
you're going to wait 3 years for whenever his contract runs out?
You got to wait at least 1 year, if not 2. Maybe they're saying to themselves, hey, why hire a guy just to hire a guy? Because I think we all agree that's never smart. Like, you don't want to be forced into making a hire solely for the sake of making a hire.
Sure.
But I do know this. It's a reminder, Evan, whether you believe the narrative, don't believe it, whether you like Sandy, don't like him, whether you do think they're incompetent, don't think they're incompetent, whatever the case may be, doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. I think you all have to agree on one thing, and I think it's a universal thought, Evan.
What's that?
And that is, whatever side you're on, when you woke up this morning and you looked in the mirror, you said to yourself, gosh darn it, why didn't I become a Yankee fan? Because that's where it's at,
well,
man.
Here's the difference.
Gosh darn it, when I was 10, I should have been a Yankee fan.
Yankee fans right now are having a fun debate. They're debating Corey Seager versus Carlos Correa. That's what they're debating. We as Met fans can't even get to that stage. We can't even get to the stage of what should we do with this roster, or dare I say, who should manage this team. We're not even at the fun part of the offseason. We're at the part of who the hell's going to run this team? Is Sandy coming back? Is someone going to replace him? And what I miss, and this is why I'm still happy that Steve Cohen owns the team despite a really tough first year. I mean this. What I miss is the idea of fantasizing about the big free agents we as Met fans can go pursue. And that's not going to change. Steve owns the team. He's got a lot of money, and we're in discussions we would normally never be in with the old ownership. So that day's going to come. But we can't even get to that day because there's nobody making baseball decisions unless Steve Cohen is going to say, look, I didn't find my guy, so I'm going to Jerry Jones this thing for a couple years. I'm going to make the decisions.
There you go.
I like Marcus Stroman. I'm going to pay him. This Carlos Correa fellow, been watching a lot of the postseason. I'm going to pay that guy too.
Yeah.
Max Scherzer? Oh, you don't like New York? Let's see. Let's see if $65 million next year makes you still not want New York. I mean,
You would certainly support that. No doubt. Listen, we'll get all your takes out of your diehard Met fan. Yankee fans, I know where you're at, sitting there just saying, that dumpster fire never changes. We've got some Giants health updates. We got the New York Jets. We got Woody Johnson yet again. We got a whole bunch of basketball today. And we're going to see if we can't give away Evan's Knicks tickets on the streets of New York City. We're going to task Thomas and Izzo with their responsibility to hit the streets and see if we can't give away a pair of Evans tickets. He is, after all, season ticket holder.
By the way, Nets sold out last night, though there were about 2,000 Miami Heat fans there, so whatever.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's it. Listen.
That was a part of it.
Listen, if you need the other team to sell tickets, you take that money.
You know what I need? You know what I need? I need James Harden to stop looking like Darren Williams. That's what I need.
Yeah, by the way, and we all read through your tweets last night, Evan. As I tweeted back to you much later in the night.
What did I tweet last night? I don't even remember.
Well, you tweeted something about something with the World Series last night. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was about Altuve passing Bernie or something, right?
Yeah.
And I had to, on behalf of all Knicks fans, I'm sorry.
Knicks fans?
Yeah, I had to put it out there last night, Evan, because you were transparently exposed last night.
For what?
Not a single tweet from Evan
about
his broken down basketball team.
Oh, really? That's BS.
That I saw.
Okay.
So what my tweet...
Apologize.
Hang on.
Apologize before I make you look like a moron.
My tweet back to Evan was, stop deflecting the Nets loss.
Quote, I've learned not to freak out after 5 games, but this garbage was tough to watch. What do you think I was referring to when I tweeted that?
I didn't see that one.
What do you think I was referring to when I tweeted that?
I didn't see that
when
one.
I fired off that tweet at 9:53 p.m., minutes after the game ended, quote, I've learned not to freak out after 5 games, but this garbage was tough to watch.
Yeah.
What do you think I was referring to?
I assume there was some kind of cornhole tournament?
Because then an hour later, clearly a lot of time later, I tweeted about Altuve. An hour later.
Well,
because I'm trying to move on from the fact that James Harden looks washed.
Deflection.
It's not deflection. I questioned it.
By your own admission right there. You're trying to move on from the net loss. Therefore, you were deflecting to something else.
I commented on it, and I watched the World Series. What was I supposed to do? Go to sleep and cry myself to bed?
Deflector.
I didn't deflect. I commented on it.
You're a deflector, Evan. It's okay. We all know what you're doing.
Here's the problem. I'm in a lose-lose situation. Because if I address what's wrong with this team, you say, stop talking about the Nets. Nobody cares. So what the hell do you want from me? What do you want from me? You want me to not say anything? I won't say anything. I get it. No one in New York cares about the Nets. I get it. The narrative's out there. It's fine. But then if I don't say anything, you're deflecting. You want me to address it? You want me to address the fact that James Harden looks slow?
No.
Okay, then I won't say anything else.
He said his off-season rehab was the reason for his slow start this year.
Okay, prove it.
Deflector.
Go prove it then.
877-337-6666. I got you, buddy.
And by the way, that's why they lost. Their defense has been a lot better. They got killed on the glass last night.
Now you're doing what we said we wouldn't do.
Dwayne Dedman. Oh, my God. Dwayne Dedman.
Yeah. But now you're doing what we said we wouldn't do.
Well, your fault.
All right.
You brought it up.
Getting to the weeds on an under 500 basketball team.
You
right?
son of a...
Going to you live from the Town Fair Tire Studios, powered by Town Fair Tire. Nobody
You did this last year, by the way.
Town Fair Tire.
When they got off to a bad start, you did the same thing. Under 500 basketball team. They're not that good. Then when they get hot, it was like nothing.
Well, maybe if Kyrie will come back, they'll get hot.
They could use him, bro.